Hello, I'm Paul Zaychuk, founder of Elastic Steel Method of Athletic Conditioning. I would like to talk to you today about the leg swells. I felt like I really had to stop everything and talk about it after email exchange that I had not too long ago. At some point I was teaching a seminar and I was asked a question about the leg swells. And I explained that leg swells could be very dangerous for someone's back, especially if this person is not trained. Very often we forget who we deal with, especially as trainers, instructors, martial arts instructors, personal trainers. Most people do not have strong enough abdominals and flexible and strong hip flexors to protect their back. So when they start doing exercises such as leg swells, which not only involve a long lever of the legs, but someone pushing the leg down as well, it could be quite problematic. Okay. What leg swells are is basically when one person lies down, the other person stands right behind them. Let's say I would do leg swells. I would hold the person's legs, bring them up, and that person would push them down into the floor, push them this way, push them the other way, okay? And I would keep lifting them. A very real problem here is that if my abdominals are not strong enough, I will be arching my back. Every time my legs come down, my back will arch. Okay, why? Because my abdominals can't keep it this way. They can't keep my back flat. They're not strong enough. Okay? Now my psoas is going to get tighter and my back is going to get in trouble because the little vertebrae are going to keep hitting against each other. Okay? And then of course it can go into spasm as well. Now, this particular instructor contacted me and said that he still noticed that people get back pain after doing this exercise. As a matter of fact, that was some of their complaints. And what works in theory does not necessarily work in real life. So what this gentleman tried to do was to train one leg at a time. Okay? So, which was creative thinking, but it didn't really work in real life, as he realized later on. And then I told him what happened. What he did was he had people do one leg raise at a time for a while, and then once they were able to do many repetitions, he had them lift both legs. Well, the problem is when you lift one leg like that, you work your hip flexors, but you do not work your abdominals. Okay? When you lift both legs, you work your hip flexors, and now you engage your abdominals. Your abdominals only get engaged if it has something to do with the movement of your pelvis or the movement of your spine. Your hip flexors get engaged when your hip articulates. So one leg at a time, it's articulation of your hips. Two legs together, it's your abdominals. Same thing is even in sitting position. My abdominals are loose. I'm lifting my legs, my abdominals are loose. But the second I lift both legs, my abdominals have to contract, because what they prevent from happening is from my pelvis shifting, and abdominals keep the pelvis in place. Okay, so it's very important to prepare for this exercise, especially with abdominal exercises. Simple exercises such as basic crunch, and then after maybe a month or so of doing the crunch, basic reverse crunch will develop the abdominals. Now, if you're going to do leg swells later on side to side, do the crunch with a small twist, do the reverse crunch with a small twist. Okay, that will help as well. But one leg raises at a time do not do much for your abdominals. Right now, of course, I feel it because my upper body is up. But if my upper body is on the floor and I'm lifting one leg, nothing's happening here. Okay? Now, another very important exercise is to make sure that your hip flexors are loose. It's torn but also stretched. The reason for that is if your hip flexors are tight, at some point you will begin to arch. No matter how strong your abdominal is, you will begin to arch because your hip flexors are not allowing to go to the floor. They're not stretching enough. So you need to do hip flexor stretching exercises. There's many of them. This is one potential that you can do. You can keep your hand on the floor, you can keep your hand on the front leg, it can be all the way up, okay, depending on your level of flexibility. But this is a very important exercise. To stretch the hip flexor, just one of them, there are many. Okay. Now, having said all that, for someone who does not have the time to do the crunches, reverse crunches, crunches with a twist, what you can do is you can start with a high position and lower the leg as low as possible and bring them back up. Okay? So, I would never start here and start lifting the legs. I really wouldn't, because a lot of people, when their legs are on the floor, there's a huge arch here, possibly due to lack of strength or flexibility in hip flexors, possibly due to abdominal strength, but there's a huge arch, and every time they bring the legs up, this place gets in trouble little by little. It creates problems. So bring the legs up, make sure the back is flat, and lower the legs only to the point where the back is in contact with the floor. Once there's an arch and the back comes off the floor, you stop, and you try not to go to that point. So this is fine. To get stronger, you can bring the legs lower. To get even more strength, you can bring them to the floor and still maintain contact with the floor. Okay? If you're going to keep your body up, your abdominals are already contracted because the upper body is up, so you put a little bit more pressure on your abdominal. You can keep your head on the floor and do this exercise like so. However, when you lift, even though your abdominal now under more pressure, but it's squeezed, so it protects the lower back already. That's if you lift your upper body. You're going to get tired faster that way, but that's okay. You can do only 10 repetitions at a time. Okay, and always, never forget, after you did the abdominal exercises, stretch them. So Cobra being one of the abdominal stretching exercises. You don't have to go too high. You can even stay here. But come up high enough just to feel the stretch in your abdominals. Maybe turn to one side and get a little bit stretch on one side and turn to the other side. Okay? Just after the abdominal work, very important. Stretching the abdominals just like any other muscle. Okay? So, hopefully we learned something. See you next time.